Welcome to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Big Blend Radio. You know, we love the Jefferson Highway. Nancy and I do. We travel the country, and every fourth Thursday, we focus on Big Blend Radio on the Jefferson Highway. This is a very historic highway. It was started way back when, I believe, I'm going to get in trouble now. Let me see if I know my history. Back in 1915. And the highway goes from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, to New Orleans, Louisiana. And it was named after Thomas Jefferson. So, we got to think about this. We got 4th of July coming. Thomas Jefferson had some, writing to do with that. So this is a very amazing highway. Nancy and I had been on it before, and now we're actively traveling in it. It's super cool. It is like, you've got to do it. That's all I got to say. But we have two special guests that have been on our show.
It's America's first vacation route.
That's right. And the Jefferson Highway Association is what really makes this all happen and how the whole highway began. And now there's a revival of the highway. And it's going, like I'm saying, Nancy and I started to travel it. You can see markers and signs in some of the places that are coming on board with this. And they just had their annual conference in Mason City, Iowa. And Mason City, we've had them on the show from Visit Mason City. And this is an amazing area. When we think about when, the Big Bopper and the passing of him and Richie Valens and others on that plane crash, that is where it happened, in that area. And so that is the region, just to put some pop culture to that, pop culture history. And also there was a Sociability Caravan. Now, I didn't even know there was such a thing as a sociability thing, but it is when people used to road trip together. I know it's really hard to say. I haven't had wine yet, so I can still say it, but it is a hard word. And even like Google and, all the little spell checks are going, no, Lisa, that's not it. And I'm like, yes, it is. You got to get with the times. But that's when people drove in groups together. So like a caravan, a road trip. It's like, we got us a convoy. And so that just happened too. As part of the conference.
Now you're talking my language.
Nancy wants the convoy. She wants a CB radio for Christmas.
Yeah,
so Roger Bell is back on the show. Roger is here every fourth Thursday with us. He is the president of the Jefferson Highway Association. And he did the Sociability Caravan. He was definitely a huge part of making this conference and everything happen, as with so many volunteers from the association and the different cities. And I mean, this is just this big effort of something super cool. So I want to welcome you back, Roger. And I want to welcome Arlene Gould back on the show, the executive director of Natchitoches, Louisiana, who has graciously been sponsoring this show for over a year now. So first off, ladies first, welcome back, Arlene. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me on the show tonight.
Hey, it is always good to hear your voice. And you're in Natchitoches, Louisiana, which is on the highway. In fact, you made sure everybody knew, because you made your city put a park in for it. That's pretty cool.
We do. We have a Jefferson Street Pocket Park on Jefferson Street. That was once the route for the Jefferson Highway.
Awesome.
And isn't your office off of the Jefferson? I know it's Main Street, right? But it is still Jefferson, isn't it, in a way?
It is. It was the route for Jefferson Highway. It's named Front Street, but it was part of the original Jefferson Highway.
Wow.
That's so cool.
And you just had a sign put up at NSU, the university there, because apparently people that were traveling through stopped in Natchitoches and camped out, by the Cane River out there. And I'm going, there's gators. They camped.
Jefferson Highway Tourist Camp, and it's now, where the Watson Library sits on the campus of Northwestern State University. So we installed a sign and had a little sign dedication, and so now the students and passersby. As a matter of fact, I took somebody there last night to show them the sign that was visiting. It was a tour operator, and he had just learned about the Jefferson Highway, so I took him by to see the sign, and it just kind of raises a little curiosity, and people start asking questions and learning more a little bit about Jefferson Highway.
I love it. I love it. And
absolutely.
those signs mean everything. And when you're traveling the highway, Nancy and I were like,
Oh,
oh,
I
thank goodness.
love it. We're so
But
into
listen,
science.
we just drove to Grapevine, Texas, and we're actually right outside Denton right now. It's
Mhm.
about 30 minutes away. And I want to tell you, my GPS, I embedded the map of the Jefferson Highway that's on the jeffersonhighway.org site. And so on my way here, I was needing to take the highways because we were in like a crazy rush. And it kept going, no. My GPS kept stopping me and trying to take me on the Jefferson Highway. You're not supposed to be on these other highways. Yeah, because I was going, what's going on? And then it kept flashing up with Jefferson
Yep.
Highway. And I'm
Mhm.
like, this is hysterical. So anywhere we're in the vicinity of the
Oh.
highway, my GPS goes, Lisa, you need to get on the real highway, the Jefferson Highway, not this I-40 stuff. What are you doing? Get
Yeah,
off of
and
that.
her phone talks to her. It drives me nuts. It
And
goes,
no,
it says you made the wrong turn.
you,
Turn around, go left. I was like, make a U-turn. I'm like, oh my God.
oh, so I'm just saying,
Seriously.
Roger, that map on your website is golden. And welcome
I
back to
love
the
it.
show, Roger. How are you doing?
I'm good. Been eventful few weeks. We had a really good time in Iowa. Obviously, a lot of the leaders and everything are trying into recovery mode now, but we've had a lot of progress, and we've had progress after. Got a lot of feedback from communities and different people. We had a flood of people starting to join our Facebook page, and I'm very aware of it coming from Iowa and different places that we affected. We've seen 3 or 4 people reach out to us in different communities in the last few weeks. It just continues to build, but the caravan, was a idea that surfaced late last year when I was talking to our friend Bill Johnson from Kentucky, who we had a previous podcast on, and he was going to come back and use his 1955 Chevrolet, and he wanted to do it. And I said, well, maybe I'll just travel with you. And I started thinking, well, maybe we just get a group to travel. And then we just started thinking, well, sociability runs of old,
I
where
love it.
people, that's how they promoted the highway. So this would be a good opportunity for us to have fun, get people to travel along together. But so then we had to touch about every community in Iowa over several months and talk to different CVB heads, Chamber of Commerce, mayors, name it, and had a help from a couple of folks, and then some other even some locals in Iowa helped on a few things, and it just kept building and building. And one of the things we tried to do some things, doing some fun contests. We did a photography contest. We did
Arlene wanted photography. She got the
did?
horses. Arlene
Yeah, she did.
won.
Arlene was
Yes.
a winner. Yeah, one of the winners.
You go, girl.
And we had the passport stamp. So we reached out to all these communities and different, stops along the way, and we had 24 stops for over 3
That's
days
crazy.
that were stamps.
That's
And I, not
crazy.
really knowing how popular that would be, it was popular. Everybody wanted their passport stamped. We had some
That's
people
awesome.
we had several people that just, had to make sure that they had to have every stamp along the whole way. And then when we got through, we had a special stamp and a pin to say that you traveled the whole route.
That
That was a surprise.
awesome.
No, that's really smart because people really want to be part of something.
Yeah, and it also I think made these communities a part of it, because they now have these stamps, and so as I told people, it's not just for this run. We can use it for other things, and if people
use it for anybody. Look, the passport thing works for the National Park Service. We have passport books, and our passport books got kind of full real fast.
Well, one of ours was the state capital of Iowa, and we took a tour there as the 1919 group did. We tried to mimic the 1919 run a little bit, and So we stayed, we went to the Capitol and they stamped us there with their, official stamp. But a lot of them, we had some really creative ones. We have in Leon, Iowa. There is an icon. You might have seen it before. There's an elephant there.
Yes, we took a
And-
photo of Priscilla,
Yeah,
our
so-
monkey,
We
and
got
Nessie
it,
the Scott.
The stamp in
Yeah.
Leon was an elephant looking.
Yeah.
It had
Oh,
Jefferson Highway.
I
it had
love the elephant rock.
we
So
love
there
that.
was
it.
some
I love
creativity
it.
involved, but we had we started off in Lamoni, Iowa. We had a lot of the community had a great ice cream social for us there, and people started joining us at different times, just like Arlene. Arlene joined us in Des Moines with Shirley Ingram from Alexandria, but we had some that were only on like the first day or so, and then we had some that would join us. So it was kind of fun that way to meet new people. But when we were in Lamoni, we just had a really good ice cream social. They showed us the Liberty Hall there that night, and then that morning the mayor came out, and we had a Jefferson Highway breakfast served for us by one of our members, and he cooked himself at his own expense, cooked us breakfast out there. And then we got off on the trip, and we touched a lot of different communities. We saw a lot of different mayors. We had 2 signed dedications on day one. One in Indianola, where you might remember we had the guest on previously that had the hotel there and restoring, and we dedicated their sign and another sign for Indianola. Big crowd of people, and I've had further contact with them. They're really excited in that town. And I don't, before we did the caravan, I don't even know if they really knew that much about it. So it's, that's how this works.
But I think it's so involved, and I want to go to Arlene on this because Arlene, these stamps and people following roots as someone who's in tourism, and Natchitoches does tourism, like Natchitoches in the state of Louisiana. It's really, when you have it's like a treasure hunt, right? For travelers to come. It's like carrying a memory of actually accomplished. It's like, as a traveler, you feel like you accomplished something. Do you see that happen?
It's kind of a simple souvenir for them, and it's kind of like a keepsake, I mean, just from my experience on the caravan, I really, really enjoyed it. As Roger mentioned, Shirley and I joined them in Des Moines and stayed at a wonderful, wonderful property that was actually a property that they had dinner at the 1919 caravan. When they came through Des Moines in 1919, they had a dinner thing at this particular building. And I have to tell you, it was like, wow, it was really, really impressive. And while we were in the hotel, it was really, really cool.
Yes, it is a nice place. Deluxe hotel.
I thought it was really nice that while we were in Des Moines, that was where the founder of Jefferson Highway,
Edwin Meredith,
is buried there. Meredith. So we stopped by there at Edwin Meredith's grave, and Roger and them. We did that at a couple of different stops along the way, which was really nice. To kind of commemorate the founders and the ones that spearheaded the Jefferson Highway from the beginning.
I love this.
We touched so many different sizes of communities too. It was like we were in Des Moines, we're in some of these, but we had good stops in little town like that next morning we had a Model A group meet us in Des Moines, and they drove this caravan into Ankeny. I didn't really know what to expect there. Boy, they had a huge group for us there, and
they did. They had a nice spread for us. They
really did. And then we drove into a little community called Cambridge, and we went to their museum there. And again, not really knowing what to expect, and we had a lovely lady. How old was she? Only like 90 something, I think.
I think she was like 91ish. Her name was Miss Joyce, and course, I struck up a conversation with her. You know me, I never met a stranger. And she took us around the museum and showed us and pointed out all these things that you could just hear the pride in her voice when she was talking about
They were
her
so excited
community.
that we came. I mean,
They were.
and the
And
mayor
then
was
she
there, and
talked
I had a
about,
good conversation with him.
Wow.
Um,
But I
found
love
out her
that you
name
have
was
the,
Joyce, and I'll never forget.
yeah.
Oh, that's my mama's name, Joyce.
Oh, but
And then
But
she
see,
was going to be
it's so
she was going
cool
to be the
because
grand marshal that weekend in the Firemen's Festival. She was the grand marshal of the parade, and we were like, "Oh my God, that is so cool!"
and I will
She
tell
was
you one
really
thing about
sweetheart.
Arlene. She was right behind me the whole way.
hello.
yeah, Arlene,
She
listen,
was not going to
Arlene,
get lost. She wanted to stay behind me, but
no, Arlene is like you listen, she's on it, right? I know Arlene, she's on it.
Mhm.
Except and we know from even going to her house
Totally.
for dinner, she'll give you a map
Yeah.
because she'll go, don't, the GPS thing, right?
And then
And
we did it and we did use it.
no,
We
I thought
actually
I didn't
needed
look
it.
at I didn't
Yeah.
follow her map properly. Remember, we went to the other side of
Yeah.
Natchitoches Parish
Yeah,
because
Roger, they got so lost. It was
Yeah.
we saw
And so it's
armadillos
like,
and gators. No, we
well,
didn't see gators, but
I'll admit here. There's one time that I got totally off track, and I was following somebody who I trusted that I thought knew their way, and then I found out that wasn't even the person I thought it
well,
was.
Roger, we just went to meet you in
hey,
Yorktown. We finally got to
yeah.
meet Roger a few
Yeah.
days ago, like right before the conference in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and like my phone wasn't working, and even while we're having lunch together, I'm getting Roger's text messages telling me where to go. And my phone's like, I don't know what but he took us out to lunch. We had a wonderful time and took us to the park,
It was
which was a
super.
tourist camp. And I
Awesome.
love that sign with all the
Mhm.
the directions like Natchitoches this way and all the that
Mhm.
I
pillar
love
that's out
that.
there. And you guys have all those painted guitars around your city.
Yeah,
Muskogee
that's
was not
awesome too.
anything that I mean, it really was completely different than I thought it was some big city. And yet you go and you've got this historic downtown
Yeah.
with amazing architecture and that park. Nancy and I spent a lot of time in the park. And
Yeah.
we ended up there for a little bit longer, and it's this beautiful gazebo with water lilies
It
and
was so
little bridge, and there's a
beautiful.
sign of this was the camp, and I'm going,
Mhm.
this is so cool. And then there's like people having fun and families with kids, and I don't know, man. I have to tell you, Muskogee, we have to come back because we weren't there long enough. We did Eufaula.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, the lakes. I mean, it's just when you think about what this highway has to offer, and we did parts of it on
You
our way
saw
up to
the
Iowa.
3D
Amazing.
murals there. I think you told me.
Oh, yes, the 3D murals. That's crazy. Roger, I didn't have wine yet either, and I thought I had.
No,
I told
you had
Nancy, I'm
some
like,
wine.
but we did.
No, I'm someone
No,
like,
and
this is way cool.
and we went to the battlefield up north of Eufaula, out in Chakotah,
Right.
because I can say Chakotah now, right? Honey Springs, and that was really. I'm telling you, everyone has to go there, and that story of that Civil War battle is insanely.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Well,
insane.
there's just rabbit
Mind
holes
blowing.
everywhere, as you said before.
I know.
When we got, as we're driving out of Cambridge, I got lost I got off. I guess it got a picture, one of the picture of the caravan going through a gravel road. So we'll give it that. Whether I was on the highway or not, I'm not sure, but I was pretty close. But when we got into Nevada, Iowa, I kind of knew a little bit about this, but I kept it kind of secret and then, a little bit. But when we got there, I don't know who was surprised it wasn't, but we were immediately greeted by two time travelers. We had Thomas Jefferson there and Abraham Lincoln to greet us as we came into the crossroads community of the
Awesome.
Lincoln and Jefferson. And Thomas Jefferson gave a speech, and I gave him a Jefferson Highway T-shirt while I was there, and He got my picture with him, and we had the president of the Iowa Lincoln Highway Association was there, and we shook hands, and Thomas Jefferson Abe shook hands, and had a great lunch there. And we went on our way, and we went to one of the most iconic places on the route is the Reed Island corner in Iowa, near Colo, Iowa, where they crossroads, and they had their the Reed station was open, the gas station. It was built in 1923, and it's the 100th anniversary of that station. And they're having this weekend. They're having a special celebration of that. And
Cool.
but we also got to have some pie at the famous Nylons Cafe. And I know that Arlene got some.
Arlene?
Bravo,
I got
Arlene.
I got peach pie, and it was so good.
Oh my God.
That's
Listen, what was
good.
that? What was that ice cream social like? I know we were talking about that on the past show.
They
Was-
had, you know, they just had, they had different things. I think I had a root beer float or something that they made. But it
But there
was,
was another ice cream
Yummy.
stop too along the way. It
oh
was so
yeah,
good.
yeah. We had ice cream several times. We had rolled ice cream in
Hello.
Osceola.
what do you mean? What's rolled? Okay, Arlene,
No,
apparently
they
you
actually,
like the
and
pie
Arlene
ice cream.
wasn't there. That was before she joined us. But we had in Osceola, they just opened that or working on that hotel. They just had opened up their part one, which was the ice cream part of it.
Yeah.
And they had opened 1 week before, and they had like a 2-hour wait to get in there. So they knew we were
Wow.
coming. So they opened only for us, and you could only enter if you had a special sticker to get in.
Oh,
And
this is cool. It's
it
like
was
an
really
ice cream speakeasy.
And it was,
Yeah, that's right.
but they did rolled ice
Night
cream
before
where
I
they
got
actually rolled ice cream up and made
What
it
is
there.
rolled ice cream?
You've never had that? You got to have that.
No,
sometime.
I've never
So
even heard of it.
I
that's
don't know.
good.
I've never heard that before.
You got to try it sometime.
What
And
is it?
but
Wait a
anyway,
minute.
we
You say they
had
roll it? They roll it. They roll it?
yeah, they actually it's like a liquid, and then they freeze it, and then they're rolling it up in these little rolls, and they put it all in. You know, I think I had strawberry. Something.
Wow.
Nancy, we need to go to Iowa and have rolled ice cream.
Yeah. And we were just there and we didn't know.
I've never heard
But
of
it
it.
was, you know, it was.
Oh.
We just kept finding friendly people.
Wow.
Small
throughout,
treasures.
Oh,
Hmm.
I think you're really right about that. You know, Nancy and I, going from the places we've been on the highway, people are nice. Those towns, people are really cool.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I remember, I think I told you about that the one time when we started doing the highway was we went from Leon, Iowa, and we ended up in Missouri. And
Right.
Missouri is doing so much in regards to murals. And
Mhm.
I went to take a photo and this car stopped so I could finish taking my photo. I went, are you kidding me? They are so proud of their community. They want
Yeah.
that out there. And I've never, normally I'm always waiting for cars. I'm positioned so I
She
can
gets
take that
honked at
click
a
in
lot.
between the cars. This car literally stopped and waited for me to take a photo. And I'm
Well,
going,
you know,
that's
I
never
kind
happened.
of, I'm gathering we're making some progress. You know, on the way back from the trip, I'm driving back, and of course, I didn't drive all the JH route, but part of it I did, and I just a couple of communities. So I didn't take very good pictures there because I was too busy during the caravan. So I want to stop and take some pictures. And 2 times somebody pulled up beside me and said, "Are you here for the highway?" And it's like, okay, the word's getting around. You know?
Roger's got to do it. Autographs next. You know, I want to go, Arlene. Arlene, what's it like?
I'm here for the highway.
Because it's interesting where Roger is with Oklahoma, right? And
Yes.
it is amazing, like following that route. And listen, everyone, you need to download that map off the website, jeffersonhighway.org, onto your phone, because it will make sure you don't steer off the highway. I'm serious. I don't know what happens, but it is like my guiding, it's my North Star. It is embedded. It will never leave my phone. I don't know what I did, but it is now my guiding star. But I wanted to go from,
Well, I just want to
for
say,
you.
riding the old back roads, the old Jefferson Highway, I saw some of the coolest things. I really, really did. Maybe it's just because I'm just one of those nostalgic people, and I'm just so into history and all that stuff. But each community had something special about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And I mean, we went to little towns like Zeering and Hubbard, and we had a really cool lunch at this building called, what was it, Brick 10?
Block 10.
And the owners came, Block 10, yeah. And they came out and told us what they were doing with some of the other buildings that they
Yeah, that was a
purchased
great
in
stop.
the little town. It was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
And
They were
it's
so
amazing because
passionate about what they did.
it's connected to you in Louisiana, which is so completely different. Like I think of like Grayson's barbecue outside of Natchitoches.
Uh-huh.
Like when you go to Grayson's, you're not going to find Grayson's anywhere else other than where Grayson's is and how it runs. This is like
It's
a
the
for
old
real.
hole-in-the-wall places.
It
that
is.
have survived.
It's part of history. It is part of America. It's Americana. I think that's what our friends who do the neon signs, Drew and Maggie, they said it's about saving Americana. And I think I was thinking about that with what they said. They're like, we are in danger of losing our Americana, and things like Jefferson Highway, Route 6, all these things.
We saw
it's a big deal.
Americana everywhere on this trip, and then we ended.
Oh
We ended the last day at the surf ballroom in Clear Lake, and we
tell everybody about that history. Tell everyone the history.
There's a ton of history there, but it's mainly known for being the last concert venue for Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper. And we had a guided tour there. I've been there before, but I've never had a guided tour. So we went back to the green room and I had all these autographs, and we got to go on stage, and then we saw several things.
It was a really cool place.
And,
Roger, I have to say, because I was following you into Clear Lake when we got into Mason City.
You thought I was lost, didn't you?
And no, but when we turned the corner and I saw that beautiful lake, it took my breath away. It was like
Clear Lake is amazing.
Gosh.
And it's not really on the Jefferson Highway, but it is, because it's always been known as a destination on the highway. Even on the early guidebooks, it was somewhere to go.
Yeah, but a highway is like the route.
That's your navigation path,
but
right?
the
You're supposed to get off of it.
That's your route to take side trips off of.
Yeah, and one must journey forth and out and
I could stay a month, I think, in Clear Lake and enjoy myself. It's a really neat community.
I felt that way about Eufaula. And we saw snakes in the water, we think, when we were at sunset.
No,
and then we asked
But we finally made it into Mason City, and we had to wait. I think we were about an hour late, and some of the folks that were going to greet us, I think, had bailed. But we did have some people there. We did get our stamps done, and then we went on. And then I was thinking, okay, it's the caravan's over, and I can relax, but that didn't really happen. But it was, we were immediately with a bunch of new people, and from all over the United States and country, and people I had not seen or met before, and to old friends that I've known for years, and from probably 15, 16 states. And we had a reception that night, and a lot of us went out to eat, and then the next morning the bus tour, and our conference group there did an awesome job, led by Sandy Kelly, and all of them were great. And the bus tour,
she got an award too.
She got an award, and it was a very special bus tour.
Yeah.
Bus tour was great. And sometimes on bus tours, I was impressed by, we went all the way to Owatonna, and they had the mayor out there for us. They had a big, beautiful park there. I'll just let Arlene tell you about that bank.
Yeah. I tell you what, when we got off the bus, I think we were all in awe of the building in front of us. It was the Wells Fargo Bank, but it was so stunning. It was absolutely beautiful. You have no idea. They do call it the most beautiful bank in the world when you walk inside. If you thought the outside of the bank was pretty, when you walk in, it literally took your breath away. I'm not kidding.
And we were staying in an historic to park in. It's designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. But we also, within a few miles of this, we go into a bank that's designed by Louis Sullivan, who was one of the teachers of Frank Lloyd Wright. And wow, is all I could say. That's my first time there either.
That's
And
so
wow,
funny. So
takes your breath
Yeah,
away.
it was amazing.
where did they keep the money? Like the stronghold with the bars and all that?
Well,
How did they
Listen,
decorate
it
it?
was so funny. They let us go in. The whole busload of people went in there, and we're all taking all these pictures, and we're like, they let you take pictures in the bank, like you're not taking pictures, like that you
Yeah.
can go in there and take it out or whatever.
Well,
But
the
they were
guy, I don't
now
know where that
proud
guy was from. I don't know if he was a bank employee or not. I'm not sure. I've heard differing comments on that, but he told an awesome story, I thought, about, that he'd been telling people that if they had to build this bank, I guess he used like back when it was built, it cost $300,000-$400,000, and today that would be 4 or 5 million.
Yeah,
And he
that's
said last year there had been some architects that were there and looked this over, and he said, "What are you telling this story about 4 or 5 million? I can tell you, if you had to build this today, you couldn't build this for $100 million."
wow.
Mhm.
Wow, that's
Wow.
amazing.
It was that amazing. It really, really was.
See, but
So,
that's when
but,
you go through these communities, this history. I mean, it's a focused way of traveling, even though you're going to go down a gazillion rabbit holes of things,
But this is why you need to travel. It's the best education in the world. I mean,
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad you
Right.
said that, Rancy, because we talk a lot about the Jefferson Highway on this show,
Mm.
and I do, and some of it's from memories of me being there. But I think that's one of the things I got out of the week too, because I was on the road. I was on the Jefferson Highway. I was seeing
Yeah,
it
once you're
again
on it, it's really,
firsthand.
it's
Isn't it
you
amazing?
get bitten.
It just kind of sucked me in more to.
Oh,
It's just
you
like
got the
Arlene said,
bug.
every community
got the
had
bug.
something to show
got
us.
Well,
bit by the
Roger,
bug.
we did these shows. We started with Arlene, and Arlene's like, "Girls, you got to do this. You got to do this." Arlene's like, every time we talk to her, like, "Girls, you got to do something with the highway." And we're like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. It's a highway. We love highways." No, I mean, you need to get off your butts and do it. And so, Arlene, you know how she followed you in the car? Well, I'm just telling you, I know Arlene, and when she wants you to do something, she's gonna
You
kind
will
of
do
nudge
it.
you along in a very
On it.
sweet Louisiana way of like
Mm.
reminding you, the highway I was telling you about,
Mm.
right, Arlene?
But
Right?
Well,
have to
I want to
say,
say that the program for the actual conference that Mason City put on at the host hotel, and the facilities for the meetings and the program and the speakers,
Mhm.
it was really, really rewarding for me to learn. I mean, every year when I go to these conferences for Jefferson Highway, I'm just soaking it all in. It's just, I just really enjoy it. And I think that people that are historians that appreciate road trips and appreciate, the past, that they would really get a lot out of it by traveling it themselves and embracing it.
Well, I
When you're
think
on it, it's different than when we started this podcast with you. We were like, yeah, we realized we've been to places like Gladewater, Texas, Natchitoches, we'd obviously done parts of the highway, but we weren't that conscious of it. But when you're actually following it, using the map on the GPS, right? When you're actually following it, it really becomes this amazing thing when you go through a town.
It connects people, it connects communities.
Yep.
And you see where the people have done signs. There's tiny, tiny, tiny towns who have bothered and put their hard-earned money behind signs that will tell you you're not going to make a detour around the corner because this is where the highway used to be. And now you're going to do, I think it was Leon when we went into Leon. I think that was it, where I'm going, what? We're going to go down. Here's the main street. No, you're going to go down the main street. You're going to take a left. You're going to take a right. You're going to go between these houses because this is what it is.
Cool.
And I'm going, seriously, no, this is what it was. And that tells you a sign of how the community grew. And then you get to this historic courthouse, which is, we have a thing on courthouses.
Yeah.
And Roger, I'm going to call you on that later because we need help. We need courthouse help. But we get there and it's like, wow, this downtown these are downtowns that are the original. When you think small town America, you're realizing it's a downtown that has like maybe the ice cream shop, maybe a gallery, but it's
Mhm.
got maybe a clothing store, a thrift shop, a restaurant, but your banker will be
Mhm.
there. Your architect
Mhm.
may be in a loft upstairs. You know,
Mhm.
it's the true blend, and I love using that word, obviously, but it is the true blend of what makes a downtown. It is not all just 100% tourism. It has to have that merge, like
No, they got a
the
good.
melding of everything. Like there's a courthouse, so you know stuff's going down, but across the street's a restaurant. Like every courthouse needs to have a restaurant across the street. That
Well,
has to happen.
you have to have law and order. Okay, so eventually, whether you like it or not, even the Wild West had to have law and order. So you got to have your courthouse.
Go Wyatt Earp.
Got, yeah,
Well, it is amazing how many beautiful courthouses you go through. We went through a lot in Iowa,
yeah,
but we
And pretty.
one of the things too that we're proud of this fact that this was the first conference we ever had that have every state and province
cool.
folks there, and that was a big deal for us. And we
That's
got to
I
do
really
something
enjoyed
really
the flag
special on the last
presentation.
day.
Yeah, yeah, that was very nice.
We had a
That's
flag
awesome.
ceremony to kind of end the conference, and we had
Cool.
Arlene, I believe, got to do the Louisiana flag. I know I did the Oklahoma, and we
Oh
we
wow.
had
Cool.
everybody go up and with their flag, and we
That's
had some
awesome.
veterans there with the national flag, and it
I
was just a
love
really
Wow.
neat
that.
way to end the conference.
Wow.
I,
So this
you know, that
We
conference,
is,
even had the
I
flag.
love that. I
uh,
love that. It's
We even had the
heartfelt.
flag from the two end cities. We had the
Yeah,
Winnipeg
Love
and
it.
the Manitoba and a Canada flag. We had
oh,
three flags from Canada, and then
Awesome.
Shirley actually did the state flag, and I did the New Orleans flag. So we had the beginning and the end, and all the states in between.
wow.
Isn't
I
that cool?
That's
love it.
amazing.
and we
Now
had
when,
guests from New Orleans and Winnipeg at the conference too, which
yeah,
was
but
kind of
you
neat.
had someone all the way from Chico, California.
That's cool.
Yes.
We had, we had a lot of different states, and um,
That's
these
awesome.
are some of them are repeats, and a lot of times when people first join us, they come back, and I think one of the things that get out, we're not a stuffy bunch. This is not a stuffy bunch of
No,
historians. Arlene can tell you
that's
that
what I
we're,
wanted to bring up. I want
you
people to
know,
understand, like, if this is road trip, cool stuff, and that I want people to understand, like, you're not like in a stuffy
no, we
museum.
enjoy
You know what
talking
I mean?
about things and visiting with you about the route, but we're also we want to learn from you about where you're from and your interest
Mm-hmm.
and I think one of the things that I sometimes take out of a conference is I think, I didn't really have time enough to talk to those folks. I wish I would have had
Mm.
more time.
You
But
know, history gets a bad rap because I'm just going from my childhood and history books and history teachers, where everything started with a year date,
yeah,
which you can't relate to because you're a kid, means nothing to you. Oh, 1300s, whatever. So you move on and then you listen and you're waiting for details that make it relevant to you, which sometimes comes, sometimes don't, depending on the teacher. So history gets a bad rap because it's an attempt to organize what happened in our human history, um, but they left out the personal touches that
well,
need to
we
make
have
it
we had a lot of
relevant.
new people joining us in this. I've never met, I've never seen. Some of them only
Mhm.
through emails or just some correspondence. Um, I haven't talked to everybody after the deal, but I didn't see too many people that weren't enjoying themselves. I think people we through the caravan and through the conference,
Mhm.
it's you start to learn, get into it. You appreciate. Not everybody's going to appreciate the same things. Some people are going to love the
No.
architecture. Some people are going to love the stories.
Mhm.
Some people are just going to enjoy visiting with other people. But it's
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Was it
every, there
fun?
it's it everybody really I got tons of positive responses for everything. And, there's always a few glitches,
Roger, do you think
but
that this is when you think, and not to interrupt, but because this is it
yeah,
though,
that's right.
when you look at what is happening with this conference, and the last time we did a show and it was a fantastic conference, and now it just seems like you've had like this massive upswing. Do you feel like the revival it's on like Donkey Kong?
Oh, hello.
Well,
Do
I
you
think
feel
some
like-
of it coming
Yeah,
out
it
of COVID,
feels-
we kind of
Yeah,
had a
yeah,
few
that's
years
true
where we
too.
weren't really progressing that much because people weren't out doing stuff.
Yeah.
Now, since then,
Oh.
and going through Pittsburgh and going through
Mhm.
this, and
Mm.
I just sense that people are wanting to, they're wanting to travel, but they're discovering some things that are just right in front of them that maybe they haven't really looked at or seen before. And I sense, I can just tell by there's hardly a week goes by now that I don't get something out of the blue from somewhere on the route.
Cool.
I've got things
Yeah,
going
that's
in all
fun.
over.
Don't you think
All directions.
I get back 2 days ago, somebody is from Missouri out of the blue, I've never talked to in my life, wants to put up one of our signs in their community. I got somebody in
Oh.
Louisiana that's wanting it out of the blue.
That's awesome.
I just, it's growing,
And I want people to understand that
Pardon?
Roger is a volunteer, and this is all volunteer, right? The association.
Yes. Yeah,
People
that's a
need
good
to
point.
understand this. No,
We've
it's a
seen
very
your-
important point.
And we've seen your
Mhm.
signs and we go, look, it's Roger's
Thank God.
sign.
No, I'm like, we get excited. And when people go and paint the signs, I do want to get into what's going to happen for the next conference.
Yes.
But Roger, can
Yeah.
you tell us about that? Because when we started doing the route as like
Yeah,
what
it
we
was
do,
so much fun.
and really following it, and then you saw it is like a treasure hunt, and you do need to
Yeah.
open your eyes because there's this
Mhm.
because the map again, the GPS tells me you need to go here, and there's a roadside area. It was outside of Leon. I have to go back on my notes, and you knew exactly where it was at roadside because I think we
Mhm.
texted
Mhm.
while we were there. This roadside park, and literally there's a bench in a roadside park with trees, beautiful. There's a dead raccoon up the highway, but I didn't say that,
I
but it's
know,
true.
Stop
It's
it.
true. But anyway, but we're there, and they're like, it's a bridge. And I'm going, there ain't no bridge. And then I turned my head, and I'm like, holy cow, there's the bridge over
It's
there in the
huge.
bushes. And someone had painted JH with the blue and white.
Mhm.
And I went, you would never know ever if it wasn't for the association and for someone taking the time to paint that. And I had to really like open your damn eyes, and it's like there's no bridge because you're looking at the road.
That's King
Like
City,
neat roads.
Missouri is what it is.
Oh, you know where we were. See, I knew it. But like
Mhm.
I'm telling you, you're like, no, that's there. And I look and I'm going, oh my God, that's the old bridge. So and that's this learning thing of we always expect it. Oh, if it's on the road, it's on the road. No, it's not. You've got to enjoy this treasure hunt. And that's this exciting, beautiful thing about it. But someone took the time to paint that on what was the bridge. And now you're seeing like this old concrete bridge over something. And now you're going, well, I wonder what was going on. Like now you're rabbit holing, right? In the side of the road going, I don't have the Google bandwidth out here to do the rabbit hole. I'll do it later. Call Roger. But honestly, I think that's the beauty of this and the people that go out
Yeah.
and
There's
do
the
that. Who
discovery of
painted
new
it?
things.
Who
around every
painted that?
corner
Who
and
painted
it's fun.
these signs? That's what I want to get to with the
How do you
story.
even make a concrete bridge? How does the cement dry while you're putting bricks in it and you're in open air? Like, I don't get it.
That's right down the road from the big pump. Well, they have the big gas pump. I don't know if you saw that or not, but
Yeah.
it's.
Oh yes, we did. We did. We went to the gas pump.
We
It's
did.
a whole energy museum. No. And somebody
Yeah.
had painted a Jefferson Highway thing. There was another little bridgey thing there.
Yeah.
And
I like
no.
the
And they
pump.
had a turbine and they had all kinds of things. No. And I wanted to go and hang out, but the museum was closed when
Yeah.
we were there. And we had to go. But
I
this is a
wanted to
cool
play like
energy
the
museum.
The Cheech and Chong movie where their cars pumping up and down.
No, Nancy, this is not that kind of high. City.
Sorry.
No, King City. No. But let's go back
because
to
it's like the same thing. It's the big pump.
the big bump. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, get the tires good. But I wanted to go to the painting of the signs. That's what I wanted, like someone painting. You were talking about a presentation that was done that you did at the conference.
Oh,
Of someone who had painted.
I wanted to do this for a while because in the Mason City Conference was supposed to happen in 2020, and a gentleman was going to be a speaker there, and he was in his late 70s, and his grandfather was one of the members of a painting crew in the 1920s that's traveled the whole route. And he wrote a little piece for a magazine about it, and he was really excited to tell his story. And then he passed away. And I corresponded through Sandy with the family and became really connected well with his daughter. And she provided me pictures of his actual journal. They did a journal of their whole travel. So I had pictures, awesome pictures of the Jefferson Highway pole painting car. And I wanted to include it, but I wanted to do a little bit more of my presentation than that. So I did the history of pole painting and marking the highway. And as I told you
It was so
earlier,
cool because the daughter had his suitcase. Remember, with all the
she brought
print marks
that. She wanted to
on it.
bring it to me because I helped work on an exhibit here in Muskogee on the Jefferson Highway that I used, and she wanted to include it.
That's cool.
But we had, she came and she brought about 3 or 4 of her family members from Minnesota. And because they were from Owatonna, is where this gentleman was. And they had an awesome story as you start digging into the story about how they came from Sweden and did all this. And I have Swedish ancestry, so it was intriguing to me. But when I was getting into this more and more, I wanted to tell it a little bit from kind of his perspective. So I used some of his words when I was giving the deal. And I'm glad that I think it touched the family, and I'm glad that it did because I wanted it to. So, and she recorded it to show to her mother. And I hope that went well. But anyway, it was good. And then we got to we had a really good banquet dinner that night where we gave out some special awards, including a special award to Lisa and Nancy for
Oh boy.
our
Thank you.
promotion of the year award in this podcast. And we want to thank you for your staying with us, and we appreciate your interest, because I can tell it's not only just or what you're doing, that you have a genuine interest in it. That's what I said.
No, are you kidding me?
On the stage.
We're so into it.
Arlene gave us that nudge, that drive behind us, and then once we started, we're like, oh my God, we're so stuck and bitten in this. It's like not even funny.
No,
it's
because
on,
it's
like,
like
all
it's
good.
it's like it's almost like a new wilderness, but it's not wilderness.
It's a positive
like
addiction.
I wish you were there. I thought, man,
I know we're coming. Okay, but listen, everybody,
But,
it is happening in April, right? 2024.
Yeah.
Arlene, it's in your backyard.
and speaking of
coming.
that, we did make an announcement at the end of
Go
our
ahead.
conference, and we are announcing that our 2024 conference will be held the last weekend, days ahead, in the great city of Alexandria, and also include Avoyelles Parish and Bunkie as part of that. And
Awesome.
we're excited to be. We're already reserved now for we've stayed in one iconic hotel in the Park Inn, and now we're going south to doing another iconic one in the Bentley hotel in downtown Alexandria, which is an amazing place.
Lisa, we got to make plans to be there.
We're doing it. We will not mess up on scheduling.
Yeah, but we have to work.
It's in there. There is, people have been like, will you guys come here in April? And I'm like, we're not going anywhere but there in April. In fact, Arlene, I think we're just going to come camp out in Natchitoches for a month so that we make darn sure we get there to this conference, because listen, I am so fascinated.
I'm gonna personally make sure y'all are there. So
We're,
do
we
that,
are
Arlene.
doing it.
You-
We are doing this, but this
Oh,
is the thing. It's 100%, but this is what is so fascinating about that area. There is so much military history, and I know I remember
There's
seeing
huge
something on the Jefferson Highway discussion Facebook group about people doing that tank run, and I think were they going to do it from there? Because like the Louisiana maneuvers happen through there, and I keep asking our
Well, they
Guardia
will
friend
in
to do it.
2024. The National Military Vehicle President. They were with us as part of the caravan, so that was really exciting.
Oh, cool.
We actually had jeeps and an old ambulance along for the ride. I mean,
cool.
we had. I mean, it was pretty
Awesome.
cool. But we had a. They'll be going through there in October 2024. Be after the conference, but there'll definitely be some involvement from them. And
wow.
we have some really good plans there. We're really excited about it. And the plan right now is to do probably a 2-day caravan through northern Louisiana and through Natchitoches, and probably an overnight in Natchitoches before we go into
Yay. That's right. That's
So,
right. You got it. You can't not go to Natchitoches. They have a
No, we
sign.
can't.
They have a park since when you first did your conference there. Listen,
that's
they have a
right.
new
So
visitor depot
pretty.
coming in for the National Park Service. So I'm just saying, like, you must
Yep.
do Natchitoches. You cannot not. No.
It's so beautiful.
And they have
there.
meat pies. They have a new amphitheater since you were there. Like,
Yeah.
seriously. And they have cemetery tours since you were there.
Yeah,
that's
and,
important.
and I get to see the new marker for the tourist camp.
Exactly.
That's
Everybody
right.
must stop for the marker.
Yeah,
And
but
we might have to dedicate another couple of them while y'all are
There you
coming.
go.
look,
There
and
you
listen,
go.
is Lieutenant
this
Governor
is-
Billy Nungesser going to come on our show to talk about this? I'm just saying, just putting it out there. I think he needs to
we
come
should
back.
make that happen. Heck, better yet, I'm going to have him registered and come to the whole conference.
There
I
you
think
go.
he should.
I think
he
he'll be
should.
one of the guests and speakers.
We're calling him out right now.
okay.
Pause it.
Can I just
Well,
say
I will
this?
tell y'all this. When Daryl and Josiah came through here several years ago to do the documentary for the 100-year anniversary of Jefferson Highway, when they left Natchitoches, and I sent them on south, to Alexandria and Baton Rouge. When they got to Baton Rouge, they met him on the steps of the Louisiana State Capitol and, talked to him and interviewed him and took pictures and all this. And he signed up to become a member of the Jefferson Highway. So there you go.
That's no, Billy Nungesser is
very
so
enthusiastic about the Jefferson Highway.
he is about history, tourism, and keeping Louisiana. He's very, very good about it. I mean, I follow him on Facebook every day, and I'm like, then does this guy ever stop? He doesn't.
He's in Australia right now in New Zealand promoting tourism, international tourism. So
and films. It's
we're
awesome.
lucky to have a lieutenant governor that really gets tourism and what it does for everybody. Everybody
Absolutely.
has a tourism.
But
They
yeah,
don't realize,
he really does good. I mean, I'm just in all seriousness, and giving back to musicians and the communities that hire local musicians. I think that is a very crucial thing. And so anyway, but going back to Alexandria coming, Nancy, you had a question or something?
No, I was just going to say that, Lisa and I have been around.
Don't say it that way.
I know, but we have walked a lot of downtowns. And every downtown has something special. But Natchitoches has something super special. There's something so relaxing. Like in some
the water
downtown,
helps. The water and the
yeah,
history.
I don't know what it is. It's the trees, it's the flowers,
Arlene, it's the bricks. Can you tell everybody the bricks? It's the bricks.
And the people who pass you who never forget to go, hi, y'all.
Yeah. Hi, y'all. Like I get an Arlene accent every time I talk to her. I become Louisianan.
The people greet you.
Right.
Whether they
I think
know
that's
you
what
or
I'm going to say. That makes a huge difference.
It's huge, but the small towns all on the highway that we went to, like I said, that guy stopping, I mean, that's the thing about this is true America. I think this highway is
That's
that.
what I envision
It's
about
true
America, where you are friendly,
Read it.
welcoming, light, and open, not
Mhm.
scared. And like, oh, try walking downtown Los Angeles. Sorry, LA, but seriously, it's a whole
Well, we
different.
can't wait to welcome you all back to Louisiana next year, and I know that Alexandria and the Wolf Parish is very excited to be hosting
Oh,
next
yeah.
year's conference.
It's
So
awesome.
mark
And
your calendars
Kisachi
and plan
Love
on
it.
joining us next April.
National Forest is the backyard, right? That connects you
Oh,
to.
it's
Yes,
And
beautiful.
there's
That's
Yep.
beautiful.
that's a scenic byway if you go through that area
Mhm.
too. Arlene, can you tell everybody the story of the bricks in the street outside your office? Because I think that is a part
how
of
they were
that's a part of
saved.
Jefferson Highway history. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I don't remember exactly what year it was, but it was many, many decades ago that the Department of Transportation wanted to take up the bricks right there in Front Street in downtown
Mm.
historic Natchitoches, and just probably lay down asphalt like they were doing to most of the roadways on around. And the Association for Preservation of Historic Natchitoches, which is a group of ladies that are, were into preserving and saving, our community,
Awesome.
kind of locked arms and sat in the street and wouldn't let the bulldozers,
I love it.
the Department of Transportation do their job. So they had to call the governor, and he said, "Oh, let them have their bricks."
Yeah. No, that's
So that's
awesome.
how we get to keep the bricks, and we have the buildings too, because we were too poor to tear them down back then. That's what the story was. The ladies said that that they were too poor to tear the buildings down, so they got to say that we've had buildings
Funny.
downtown from the 1800s,
Mm.
but yeah, so that's how the bricks
Yeah.
got saved.
Well, I was going to say the
So
Jefferson Highway,
awesome.
like in Gladewater, Texas, they were starting to fight that too. When we were
Mhm.
there, they were talking about they
Yeah.
wanted to come and take up their brick streets, and that is part of the Jefferson Highway. When we were there, and we're like, "Holy cow, you
And
can't
it's
do that!"
also
We didn't know it was a
interesting.
Jefferson Highway at the time, but that's something iconic. Like
It's a-
there's a place called Happy Texas. Truly,
Mhm.
there's a Happy Texas, and it has a Happy Bank. Roger, maybe you know about Happy Banks,
I
but
like
there's
the
a
Happy Bank.
I mean, like I mean, do you feel happy when you take money out of your bank? That's
Yes.
like and if you get robbed, you're gonna have clowns. I don't know, but it's just great. It's funny, but they had brick streets, and you just rarely see
It's
this. And
awesome.
so, Roger,
It's
have you seen any
awesome.
brick streets on the highways on the
Oh
highway?
yeah, we
Jefferson?
ran into some on the Caravan. I mean, I want to say Leon is the park right by the elephant is brick, and I know
Mhm.
we had brick in Osceola.
I love the elephant.
So
Why is
Love
the
the
elephant
elephant.
there? We need to do a
Yeah. Why
podcast on
are
Leon. Why is the
but
elephant
why
in
is the
Iowa?
why an elephant? I mean,
Yeah. Nelly the elephant.
Short answer to that is there was two elephants at one time,
mhm.
and they were put there in the early 1950s in front of a Dairy Queen as kind of a promotional deal. I don't know exactly all the reason why elephants were picked, but they were. And they brought these elephants in from somewhere, and there was one big one and one small one. And they sat out there for generations, and people loved those elephants. And they were, some of them would put their kids on the back of them or whatever,
Oh my
take their
God.
pictures, so people
Oh
remember
my
them all their
word.
lives. And so the Dairy Queen faded away, and so there was, what are we going to do to these elephants? So they were saved by community leaders, including one of our board members,
Mm,
Loring Miller,
cool.
who lives in that town. And
Mm.
they were moved here, and now they decorate the elephants all year long. So one time I was there on Father's Day, and it was dressed with Father's Day stuff. Sometimes it's Christmas or Valentine's, and then every once in a while it has Jefferson Highway.
Hey,
Listen. I want to
And which
say,
we
but
had when
then,
we were there.
but look, like people look at Route 66 and all the quirky roadside stuff, and this is part of. I mean,
Yeah, that's part
that
of
is
it.
part of it. But you've got gorillas in Pittsburgh,
Got
Kansas.
gorillas
So
in Pittsburgh.
you got elephants in Leon. right?
Yep.
Arlene's got
Right.
gators in her backyard, so just
Yeah, we
call
got gators
Arlene.
down there.
You know, so I mean, I'm just
But
saying, you never know.
Well,
And
but elephants are known for elephants never forget. So
that's right.
Yeah.
this is why you never forget
They're the
Jefferson
mamas of the highway.
It's
They're
just
the
one of the
mothers.
fun, unique elements. Of just you come into this small town in Iowa and you don't expect to see an elephant downtown.
Well, I'm excited that you did the conference
love
even
it.
in Mason City, because you have puppet history, you have
Yeah,
Music Man
Yes.
history,
yeah.
you've got rock and roll history. I mean, you got Frank Lloyd Wright history.
Well, it's
I
all
mean,
over. I mean, we were in
Oh my God! And
Minnesota.
the
It was-
sculptures. They
The-
had sculptures everywhere around Mason City. That
oh
were
yeah, it's a big
absolutely
art.
amazing.
Public art is
oh,
big. there.
really? Oh, I need to go
Oh
then.
gosh,
I mean,
yes.
We're
oh,
gonna go.
Yeah.
see, we're
Very
actually doing
impressive.
a story on small towns. Like, Roger, was it I want to say Strawberry that we went to, but it wasn't. Starberry. It was on our
Stanberry, maybe.
Stanberry. Yes.
There you go.
So
Mhm.
no, but they have a mural, and their history was right there on that mural. And a lot of these
I
really
love
small towns. And it's a
murals.
small town with a big center park. They have, and this is a historic.
Oh
like
yeah, that
I
big
have
park
to do
downtown.
that huge park with a caboose, and yet
Yeah,
it's
I
a
love
very,
it.
very, very small town.
Stanberry,
they-
Missouri. Uh-huh.
Yet that okay,
Mhm.
it was Missouri. But on the way in there's some metal artist that does some really interesting things. And I'm using the
Yeah.
word interesting.
You found that too. Yeah, that's a cool
Yes, we
place.
did. But that's the thing. But that's what your road trip is about. But then you're at this tiny, tiny town where I'm going to say the park is almost bigger than the town, but it's not. But you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
that
it is. It's big.
but you know what I mean? It's like, wow, this is cool. And but the mural, so we're actually doing a thing with Artist Victoria Chick, because we've been documenting public art. But we're doing a thing about really small towns who get together and put their history on a mural. One Mural Towns is what we're calling it,
Mhm.
because
Nice.
it is a place like them, because they somehow get together, just like doing Jefferson Highway signs, painting bridges, doing that. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing it. And they will put their history on one mural.
Yeah.
And by golly, everybody better go see it, because if you get there in weird hours, like we are usually in weird hours in towns, because of the way our travel is, we'll get there. If the visitor bureau is not open and you have a mural that tells you the history, it is,
It's so awesome.
and it tells you that the town
There's just something
cares.
about visual when you see it all in front of you that it's very impressive.
Well, we
very-
went through
it's
Nevada,
very
Iowa,
caring,
Caravan. They're
welcoming.
actually painting one now, and they were trying to get it done for the Caravan. But they didn't get it off the ground quite. That would have been hard. But they're doing a Lincoln Jefferson Highway combined
Yeah.
mural there. And,
Ooh,
we're trying to encourage a lot of towns along the route. It might be a mural, it might be something simple, but do something. It doesn't have to be expensive. Just do something creative to just
Yeah.
It's
that's going to make the route fun. So,
It's welcoming to, like, we're strangers everywhere we go, you know,
mhm.
and unless we're going in circles, which we sometimes do. But when we go into
See you
a
soon,
new
Arlene.
town, no, when we go into a new town and you see a mural, the
it shows
first thing
caring.
you think is this community loves itself and has pride in what it's doing. That's the
I
first
agree.
thing you see.
Right.
It says hey, look at us. Look what we've done.
This is what we've
Hey,
accomplished over the
we-
years.
We love our town. We love where we
Mhm.
live.
Yep.
That's what it
Before
says.
we wrap up tonight, I just want to show how impressed I was with Mason City and all of Iowa and its beauty. I mean, really, it was my first time to Iowa, and I was so impressed. And Shirley and I were laughing and giggling going down the road, saying, "Oh, we got a tough act to follow." So, kudos to Roger and the conference committee that put on a great 2023 conference in Mason City, Iowa, and the Sociability Caravan. And looking forward to hosting it here in Louisiana next year. So
It's very
thank y'all.
exciting.
Oh,
And I'm so glad Miss Shirley was there. We love Shirley. She's awesome.
Yeah.
I can already
Yeah.
see the two of you in the car together. I'm like, uh-oh, there comes trouble.
Uh-oh.
I love that.
Road
No, with a
trip,
lot
road
of giggles.
That's a
Where's
double
Roger
trouble.
taking us now?
Yeah, I know. Like they're following right on Roger's tail. We're not going to miss anything. We're not missing anything. Go on, Roger.
I was right
Yeah,
behind him.
man.
I wasn't letting anybody get between me.
I love it.
Blue truck. It's like, oh, that's my lead right there.
I
had
think,
no
but
clue
that's
where
so
I was,
important. That is so important about
but it was
these
all
kind of
good.
caravans and this kind of road tripping is those kind of stories. You both seem super still excited from
Yeah,
the
it's
experience. I mean, it's all of us. We could talk about it all night long, but we can't. I want to
Yeah.
thank you both and thank everyone that put this conference together. We weren't there, but it's been sure fun hearing all your stories and following you on Facebook. Everyone, I encourage you to go and join the Facebook group, Jefferson Highway Discussion and Jefferson Highway Association. Join the page and then join the group just so you can see I mean, people are posting things, historic things, sharing their travels. You'll see stuff from the conference, see what's coming up. But that discussion group is fun. It's addicting, man. I'm telling you, I have to take notifications off my phone.
Mhm.
It's so good. And apparently my phone has become a Jefferson Highway phone because of the
If you want to
GPS
see
thing.
pictures of the caravan and the conference, we're posting them on our website under just look at photo tab and go to, it'll say 2023 conference and caravan.
Oh, cool.
There's probably 50 to 100 pictures on there right now. So
Awesome. That's awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for our award. We do appreciate it. We love
Oh, I
love doing
love
this
it.
podcast.
Thank you.
And we have more coming with it. And the most important thing is to actually get on the route itself, on the
Mhm.
highway and into the communities, which we did start doing. And I want to live
Basically,
on
get it on your
Just-
calendar to come to Louisiana.
We're doing Louisiana. Tell everybody the dates
trip.
again, Roger.
Here
And-
it is. Every time we get in the car, we're like, road trip.
I know. Road
Yeah.
trip on the highway. It's the last weekend of April, right? For the
Yes.
next conference in 2024. Everyone, that part of Louisiana will blow your mind. You got forest, you got swamps a little bit, depending on where you go.
Gators.
You've got flowers,
love
you've
gators.
got history, you've got, oh my God, it's amazing.
A bit
And
of everything.
of course, Natchitoches is right there. I'm just saying. And when you go to Natchitoches, you got to have a meat pie.
I was
And if
gonna
you
say
don't-
the
yeah.
food.
Mhm.
Oh. Mhm.
Yeah, can't be. Now that's a whole other rabbit hole. But everyone,
Thank y'all
jeffersonhighway.org.
again.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us, Roger and Arlene. Keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. We do this every fourth Thursday, and it's always exciting. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.